Do you have a memory of that very first like moment when you were uploading a video of yourself and you're kind of like, well, I'm just going to post this? Like,
Yeah, kind of. It was like a YouTube video, and I was sitting in like a stool in my living room just playing Revival by Zach Bryan, and I was like, I'm going to post it. I was like, why not? And then his like dad commented on the first video that I was like, oh my.
oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
In your brain, like, and I have a hard time admitting my own aspirations at times, but like in your brain, in your wildest dreams, what were you hoping would come true?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I thought about it.
It was
I just like wanted, yeah. Because it wasn't like I want to be a musician. I just loved music. Like I genuinely just got addicted to guitar and writing songs, and I just like it a lot. And then the song blew up, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm a musician now. And,
yeah. Oh man, that's such an interesting way to define that. Like there was something really freeing about the way that you just said that. Like, I don't know, I'm sort of processing this in real time with you, but it sounds like kind of who you just were made to be.
Yeah, something like that.
Does that feel right, or what feels right?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Were you playing guitar first, or did you go to the guitar to have a place to put singing?
Guitar first. I like guitar more than anything. More than writing anything, I love playing guitar. It's like my thing. Yeah, I just saw a guitar and I picked it up, and I was like, this would be super fun to learn. I started watching YouTube videos and annoyed the crap out of my parents all day, every day with it. And then my mom walked in on me one day when I was like trying to sing early from work, and I was like, oh gosh. And she's like, it wasn't that bad. It was horrible, by the way. Old videos, it was so bad. But so I was like, all right, maybe I'm gonna try to sing and write. And then my friends are like, you should start posting videos. And TikTok became a thing, and I thought it was kind of a stupid app at the time, but I really did. And my buddy's like, well, just post on it. I was like, okay. And I posted, like, it took a while before anything got traction. But
what's a while?
Probably not a while. It probably felt like a while.
Yeah.
Probably a couple months or something like that.
Yeah.
And just posting, not getting anything. And I was like, oh, just keep going. And then I did a cover of Simple Man, and it did pretty well. And then just from there, it just kept getting better and better. And I was just posting like every day. And yeah.
So tell me about who you were meeting. Like, who is the fan that was showing? Because it's so cool and it's so fascinating when you first start to see your music and you're connecting the dots with like a real person, what came out of their way to show up on like a TikTok comment section and say whatever. Like, what were you learning about the people that were finding and liking your music?
I don't know. They were just like super die hard at the start. Like, they were just like, I was so in love with it, and I can't thank them enough for that. But they were just, it connected with them on a different level, I think. And I'm not sure how to explain that, I guess, but I think music is such an emotional thing, and it's something that, like, when you're listening to it, nothing makes me feel personally like music. Like, listening to a certain song, I think that comes in play with that. So
I saw this quote that you had said that was like, I love making anything that can affect someone emotionally. And I was wondering who was that artist, if there was even, just one or multiple people, but who was, because I kind of hold who that first person that kind of like shook me, almost made me feel uncomfortable. Like, oh, wow, this moved me like maybe more than it should have. Like, who are those artists that?
Chris Stapleton was like Steel Driver stuff. Like, my parents would always listen to that. And I would his voice, I think he has the best voice on the planet. Yeah. Personally. That was like the start of that. And then Tyler, like his whole first album, Bottles and Bibles, when he wrote was like 18 or 19 and just an amazing piece of music.
That's interesting. I love your cover of Jersey Giant.
Thank you.
Had you been enough of a Tyler fan that you'd known that song from him playing it live? Or how did you discover that song?
I found it on YouTube. I think my sister showed me it or something. She's like, have you seen this? I was like, no.
That song had its own little cult following, and it's so interesting to me that he never gave it to us.
It's unreal to me still that he never released that, but to each their own.
Yeah, have you met him?
I haven't.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's set up the album, but let's do it by talking about G-Paw, the track.
Okay.
Give me like the behind the scenes of how that recording of that's your grandfather, right? Who's got a killer voice. Doesn't he have a great speaking voice? Yes. How does that recording come to be?
I just wanted him to be in it. So because he's been such a big inspiration to me and just life, not music per se, but just he's like the hardest working man I've ever met in my life, and he's always going, he's always working, always doing something. He doesn't sit still, and that showed me that if I just work, I can do whatever I want. I can love life as much as anyone else. And we so we had him record a little piece.
Did he write it? Like who?
Yeah, he just said what he were like. Just say I didn't want to be like a scripted thing. So yeah, he just said, and I was like, just put Restless Mind in there somewhere because that's like the whole point. And so yeah, we did it like that, and he kind of just did it first try, and we're like, all right, let's just put it in the album. I think it's cool just to have it. I think it's cool for me personally.
That's really cool because it did feel like I'm like, I don't think this is like I'm listening through for the first time and I don't know the tracks coming. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't sound like why he wouldn't have like left this on a voicemail, right? Yeah. But it also does sound authentic. It has an authenticity to it. So it doesn't feel like, hey, Grandpa, could you read this? You know? But I was curious. So I'm assuming you had the song Restless Mind. With Avery,
yes.
And you knew that the album was going to be called Restless Mind, and so you were like, "Hey, Grandpa, like, I want you in the mix."
Yeah.
What do you call your grandpa?
It's Grandpa.
Grandpa, okay. And so is he like at all resistant, or is he like, sure, like?
I felt nervous to ask him. He does not do stuff like that. He doesn't do like, I don't know. He doesn't use a phone. Like he's just very down to the earth guy, and. So I almost didn't want to ask him because I didn't want him to be like weird about it. But he was all for it, and he was just happy. I think happy to help.
That's so sweet. What did you think of his fancy lyrics description?
Oh my God. When I was listening to it, I was like, oh Lord. But
I thought that was really, honestly, I thought that was really charming.
Lyrics.
Like very like grandparent,
yeah,
like
very.
Analyzing your lyrics. Like I thought that was really sweet. So I think that is a really cool setup. To the song.
Yeah.
And that really leads me to, is this one of those occasions where you felt like naming the album? Yeah. Why did you name the album? Obviously, Restless Mind is a standout. It's an incredible song.
As soon as I wrote that song, I knew that I was going to call my album Restless Mind. I don't know. It made sense for, I write a lot of like sad music, and I think I do have kind of a restless mind. So it made sense to me instantly. I was like, this is it.
You know, the easiest happy thing to write is a love song.
And you can only write so many love songs.
And a really great love song and saying something new is really hard.
Yeah.
But I think like what you're dealing in is all these different flavors of like, you know, looking for yourself, looking for home, wrestling with where you are in your life, wrestling with relationship, you know, wrestling with expectations, like things like that. And there's just a lot of meat on that.
It's mostly like about wanting to go home. It's like a lot. I need to get away from that.
Well, say more about what that's
how it's. So I moved 3 years ago, and it was just a really weird moment in my life. I was just like, I'm gonna do this music thing, and it was really hard for a little bit because like emotionally I had never been away from home. I always had like my friends or my parents there, and all of a sudden it was just me by myself. 24-hour drive away from home. Like I had nothing, and it was like a battle for a couple months. It was like a mental battle for sure. But I wrote a lot of songs that were just about missing home, and people like managers were like, you got to stop writing about missing home. I was like, I'll try, but that's just how I felt at the time. I think, any song writing is about probably where I was at that moment. I definitely write about stuff that I'm not going through, but I don't know.
What was that like? So this is, you moved from Missouri to Montana, and were you just like, I'm going to challenge myself, or like, I want to go to like, what's the like thought process around making that choice? Because that is bold to just kind of go like somewhere where you don't have people. Yeah.
I just thought that if this is going to happen, this is the way that's going to happen. Like if I'm going to be successful in something, I just need to jump on it and do it and just give it my all for a little while. And I was like, you know what, if it doesn't work, I'll move back home and I'll go back to college, I guess, which wouldn't have been fun. But, and it took a little bit, but then we saw some traction and stuff just kept going and kept getting better and better. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then the straight and narrow blow up thing happened, and now I'm a musician.
I really can't believe that you wrote Straight and Narrow when you were 16. Can you believe, like, when you're
No.
like at 21, are you like, how, like, sometimes we're wise beyond our years and we don't even know it. Like, how the hell did you write that song at that age?
I wasn't trying to write a good song. I was just trying to write a song. I had never wrote a song. So I sat down and like in an hour I wrote the song. I was like, "That's okay, here's a song." I didn't think anything of it.
Very first song you ever wrote.
Yeah. And I didn't, which is like a double-edged sword because it's like,
so
that's
nuts.
cool. But now I try so hard to write these emotional and great songs. People are like, Straight and Narrow. I'm like, God.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? It's like sometimes there is a gift. I remember this season of my own life. Like when you first, like for me, when you first come to, I grew up here, but like when you first like kind of come to town and start doing the thing, you're like learning how people do the craft of songwriting.
Yeah.
But everybody brings something unique that it's almost like you get nostalgic for when you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's why I think Straight and Narrow came out the way. There was nothing in my brain. There was no me trying a certain way. I just
Trying.
There's nothing in my brain. I just did it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Who would you at 16, like what artist would you have been, eager to get like advice from about how to do this thing? Like if you could have talked to anybody at that age when you were writing that first song.
Tyler.
Yeah,
definitely.
Same answer now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Okay, let's start with the very first track.
Yes.
This is a voicemail from your mom on Man You Raised.
Yes.
Your mom is actually like in this album in a handful of places.
Yeah.
Tell me about y'all's relationship or why she shows up in the songs.
Well, my mother has been my biggest support my entire life, and she is letting me do this thing. She let me move away. Which sucked. I've been her little boy, still always am. But we're so close, and as well as my father as well. He's not in a lot of stuff, but both of them have just been the biggest support of my entire life, and have supported me through music and helped me, and have just always been on my side. And having that, some people don't have that, which is crazy to me. Mm-hmm. And I've just been very, very lucky to always have that. So I wanted to write a song. I was like missing my mom one night, and I was in Nashville, and I wrote that song in like a couple hours, and then she like bawled her eyes out when I showed her the first time. I was like,
oh yeah. Do you ever feel nervous when you're sharing stuff with her? Like, is she? I mean,
no.
Okay, so biggest fan, not. Sometimes it's like biggest fan and biggest critic are the one and the same.
She's a critic for sure, but I tell her everything.
Oh, that's awesome. So this is what's interesting to me. It's like I was listening to that. I probably had gotten all the way through the album once, and I was starting over. And I love listening to an album start to back. And I was just like, what's going on in you're 21, stuff's moving. It looks like it's going pretty well. Mm-hmm. What is making you contemplate like your last night? Am I misunderstanding what the song is kind of about? Or like, to me, it almost sounds like your last night on earth, or like,
it's pretty much just like if I were to die,
yeah,
that like you can take everything I have, like everything. I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah,
you're like my number one person in the world, and like if I have 2 seconds left in life, I'm gonna call you to make sure that I got to say goodbye.
I mean, I guess I'm just like, what was making you think about that? Like,
I don't know.
That's fascinating. Tell me about because one of the places I feel like even some of the best singers that I know, where their confidence comes undone is when they step out on stage. So what happens for you? Because you probably hadn't been on the road a bunch when you start. It's like time to start putting that touring work in. Yeah. How did you come to that confidence when you step up to the mic?
I don't know. I did this had done American Idol when I was in college, and I think that completely killed my nerves. Like, I really think it killed my nerves. I was so nervous for that, and then I did it, and I was like,
that wasn't that scary.
I was like, I'm singing for this is normal people in front of me. I'm just singing. And then, I mean, when you, like, if you look at comments and stuff, it can give you some confidence sometimes. Some don't give you confidence. But, I was like, if people are buying tickets, they're here to watch me. And if I mess up, they're going to understand I'm a human being, and everyone messes up day to day. So, yeah, I just got that in my head early, and it's worked.
So the collabs on this album are two incredible female voices. I love Avery, and I think she's just got such a nutty kind of ability to make her, like, what she does with her voice and how
She's got the most beautiful voice that I've ever been able to be in a room with. Like if she's singing right next to me, I'm like, it's not real. It sounds not real.
It's crazy, isn't it? So tell me about how y'all met.
I think we had maybe I messaged her online or something, and then we got this right set up, maybe through our teams, but we sat down and wrote this Indigo song the first time.
Okay, that was the first thing y'all wrote together?
We wrote this song called Indigo, and we were both like, wow, we really like this song, and still love the song. And then she was gonna come perform at a show with me. She's gonna sing the song that no one had heard yet, Indigo. So we were rehearsing it the night before in my Airbnb, and then I just happened to show her Restless Mind, that I had like half the song finished, and I was like, what do you think about the song? I started playing it, and she's like, wow, it's really good. Then she started singing like to it. I was like, how would you sing it if you did it? And I was like, this is a duet now. And then we wrote the rest of that song like that night, and then now we try to write as much as we can together because we've had very good luck writing. We connect very well.
Awesome.
On writing.
That's one of the things that I think is really hard. Like you just can't you can't make that happen. You either have that, like, and whether it's chemistry or just like a like-mindedness, or you have to have kind of like similar taste.
Yeah,
when you're writing,
it just works when we do it. I've been in a room with a lot of people that just, it doesn't work, but she's that one person I can always get a room in, and I'm always going to be confident that we will get a good song.
I absolutely loved Lily Fitz's voice.
Yeah, she's got, it's like a 180, completely different voice, but it works.
Tell me about Stopped in Hell, and about how y'all kind of came together on that song, or how y'all got to know each other. Yeah,
we kind of the same situation. We had maybe messaged over like Instagram or something, and then we ended up getting like a writing room in Nashville, and we did like 2 days of writing. We just hung out like half the day and just tried to write. And I had the Stopped in Hell like idea for a long time, and I like trying to not bring ideas into stuff, because it always like, not stuff I like, because people can kind of change it, and then I'm afraid of that happening. I've had that happen. And,
this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like when you have an idea that you love and you share it with someone, and they take and it doesn't meet kind of your expectation of it.
And I don't want to be like rude about,
hey, I'd really like to take that back.
Yeah. And I've done that and be like, oh boy, wish I wouldn't have done that, but whatever. But Stopped in Hell was, I'm sitting on it, and like the last night I was like, you know what about this song? And she's like, yeah. And we finished it.
That's really cool. She's got such a great voice.
Yes.
that was the first time I'd ever heard her. I was just like, this is so cool. Yeah. So I love what she's up to. Okay, so I'm kind of like embarrassed that I don't know how I should be pronouncing this title. But the song that you wrote about your sister, is it 5 or is it V?
V.
Okay, V.
Yep.
Is her name start with a V?
Vanessa.
Okay. So can I read you some of these lyrics? Because I love this. First of all, and although time has taken me far away, I'm not yet a ghost. When I look at the queen you've become, well, it brightens my soul. I'm like, this is what every sister wants their brother to say about them, first of all.
She was like, when I sang it for the first time, she's like, so you do love me? I was like, yeah, what?
Is she older sister?
Yeah, she's like 24.
This is some real older sister energy. I understand this. But then the chorus is, like the end of that chorus is like, your words were all I needed to feel like I was 10 feet tall. What, and I mean, as much as you're comfortable sharing, but what could your sister say to make you feel 10 feet tall?
Anything. She was just always just the kindness and tried to help in any way, or was positive about everything I did. So she was just a huge support in that way in life. She helped me with my homework. She cleaned my room. She
did?
Yeah.
Okay, she does sound like a pretty killer older sister.
She's the best. She's absolutely the best. I love her with all my heart.
Oh, that is so, so sweet. I love it so much. So yeah, I mean, what is it like? Like, has she been out to, like, have you been performing that out yet?
No, we just started performing that because I had hid the song for a long time, so I didn't want to play it live. And then
it makes its way. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I hid it, and then I finally got to play it at her wedding, on our wedding day, and we both like bawled our eyes out when I was singing it.
When did she get married?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of set the scene. Was it like during the ceremony or was it during the
I
reception?
had just played her first dance. She didn't know this was happening. Me and her, my brother-in-law, her husband, is like on the road with me all the time and does like helps me with a bunch of stuff. And we had done their first dance, and then I was like, "Can I just take a second or whatever?" And I just sat her down like in the middle of this arena, like gym we were in, and just stood in front of her and sung it.
That is really
It was
beautiful.
quite a special moment.
Oh my gosh. I bet your parents were bawling.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure she was bawling.
There's a lot of wet eyes.
What would you make of, like, you look around your life right now? Like, what do you make of where you are and where you are kind of in the music scene?
I don't know. I try to think about that sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going with it. I'm going with the flow. I'm going to keep making music. If people keep liking it, I'm going to make it till the day I die anyway. So
Yeah.
it'll be out there, and I just pray that it does connect with people and that they can find some kind of happiness or closure out of my music.